So where I was going with the $30 a month is a good quality CRM, which takes a little bit of effort to, truly set up, but not hard. For 30 or $40 a month will do that for you as well, but you'll have a CRM to manage responses, to create templates, to kind of doing what you're wanting all in the same. Because like Zoho CRM, I know everybody else uses others, but I've used Zoho in the past, so I use it. It has responsive email as well without limits.
Okay.
So that's where I was going with, like, there's a lot of things that will combine tools into one for a lesser cost. And I know Mitchell uses something else. He's trying something else right now.
I thought I'd get better response by using my company email as opposed to Gmail.
There's two trains of thought there. There's, the thought process of, oh, it's just another somebody trying to pedal push something on me, or if it's a Gmail account, it can come across as, oh, it's a small town guy, or it's a nobody.
Right.
There's no winning in my mind with that one. It's just whether they open it or not and feel like the email, like your initial email, resonated.
Right. So you're just starting out. You haven't sold any yet.
I haven't sold any yet. I've got a lot of interest, of course. That's the way it sounds all the time, but I haven't sold anything yet.
Okay.
So
I got a couple of cards out. My thing is, I can only work by email. I can't drive anywhere. I can't walk anywhere. So email is my only choice, and I know that email response is much lower than walking in the door.
sure. I've gotten a lot of I live in a large city. I live in Tulsa.
Hmm.
There's a lot of good little cities around us with 3 or 4 thousand people in the cities, but
Right.
I think there'll be more success in those smaller cities. So that's where I'm pushing right now. But I had a I'm just starting the process. I'm just starting to think about this, starting to research, and I'm like, there's this high for the first week of like, heck yeah, this is gonna be awesome.
Right.
I'm sitting in my office and I'm researching and doing everything, and a guy knocks on my door, and I open the door, and he's in a suit and he's holding this leather bound something, and I'm like, oh great, here we go. And I don't have any problem with that. It's just I did not need that in my time that day. Well, no, it was the a local Edward Jones guy that just moved in and was just
Hmm.
walking the neighborhood trying to get
Right.
himself recognized. And I was like,
Sure.
hot dog. And so I said, well, I already have an Edward Jones guy. He's a close friend. Good luck to you. But I've got a question for you. Would you be interested in such and such? And I pushed this. And he goes, yeah, yes. He's like, we have a marketing budget. He's like, but direct mail always is always seen as so expensive, and you just made it cost effective.
Right.
And so I wrote my information down on a post-it note and handed it to him. He gave me his card. I went and talked to him the next day, and he's super interested. He's like, I'm getting so started right now. My marketing budget's kind of blown, but I do not lose track of me. And I thought, and he's just at the major intersection right down the road from me.
Sure.
And so I was like, what if we did love my neighborhood? Like, we love our neighborhood. And then just the intersection, 81st and Sheridan. And so I just started walking the strip malls right there. And everybody is super interested. It's just nobody's willing to pull the trigger right now because they're scared to death of the economy, which is fine. It's just an objection. We just got to get over that objection. And so I utilize the concept that this will take 3 or 4 months for this to actually have an effect on you. And in 3 or 4 months, the tariffs will be behind us. It'll be,
Either that or you'll be used to it by then.
yeah. The election's been over for how many months, and it's already in the past for us. But everybody's scared to make deals and stuff for the election. And everybody was scared to death for inauguration, and then all of that. And we just move on from it and find the next thing to be scared of. So that's how I'm trying to overcome those objections.
You doing 5,000 or 10,000?
5. The
I've never done 5. I've done 10s.
how much are
I've
you
done a
charging
couple.
for your ad space?
My biggest one is 900,
Okay,
and then 600 is half of that, and 275 is my small one.
gotcha. I
Now, I've never sold the 275, but it's on the board.
sure. I'm doing 400, 700 for a double space, and then 500 for the one single strip on the back.
Oh, okay,
And negotiable a little. Like, if
sure,
they're really on the fence, I'll be like on this first one, I'll do it for 300. But I can't make 10,000 budget out to make any money. I mean, yeah, it'll make a little money,
right.
but I don't want to set the precedence with clients that it can be lower, and I will still be fine because once they know that Chase, you're still making money on this, even at half the cost, then I'm losing half the cost. So,
Hmm.
and I've thought
Have you thought
about,
about trading,
I have,
bartering?
I have a little, but there's not very many that I need to barter with. Um,
Well, tires for your car and things like that.
yeah, definitely considered it. It's hard for like everybody to like a tire guy. It'd be hard for him to be able to, um, how do I say this? Put it in his invoicing on why it's free. Um, I've been using. I know everybody uses Chat GPT and AI a lot, but
Pool.
well, I use AI a lot, and I've been using it for years.
Hmm.
So I know a lot of prompting and how to prompt it and make it get where I need it to go. And man, it's been helpful. One of the best things I've come up with was I told like when you set up Chat GPT, if you've never set it up, you can go in and customize it. And so you tell it who you are, what you're doing, what your business name is, and it's not in the prompts, it's actually in the settings of Chat GPT. And when you
Hmm.
put all that information in there, you don't have to remind it any of that stuff. you
Right.
know it's it works off what you're wanting it to do. And there's a lot of good YouTube videos out there on how to set it up and customize it so that it knows what to do
Hmm.
for you. But one of the best prompts I've put into it lately was compare EDDM to Facebook, and the scripts, the word tracks that it gave me have
Hmm.
been awesome. They've resonated with a lot because everybody's used to knowing what it takes and cost to run a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad or promote one of their reels. They know
Right.
that costs, and they know the response rate is really low. Well, my wife runs a we have a lashing studio. She's a nationally renowned lasher. She eyelashes,
Oh, okay.
and when I started running those numbers by her, she was just like, this will resonate with people better than just about anything else.
Hmm.
If you spent $400 on me on going with a card, you're going to be in 5,000 homes, guaranteed, and you're guaranteed to have 5,000 touches. Yes, just like an Instagram story or a Facebook ad, they can swipe right past it because it has no resonance with them. They'll,
Right.
they'll move right past it. And Facebook is going to consider that a contact and charge you a little bit. If they
Right.
click it, they're going to charge you 80 cents, 70, 80 cents because they clicked it. Just like this, it's them touching it and reading it for the first time. Even if they walked right in the house and threw it away, you made contact with them. And so that $400 with Facebook is going to get you 500 contacts, or $400 with me is guaranteed 5,000 at a minimum.
Right. Plus, remember, there's more than one person in most households.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Agreed.
postcard comes in, somebody magnetizes it to the refrigerator, and everybody else in the house sees it.
Yeah. But it's just overcoming those small objections with them.
Good morning, Lucy.
Sorry for the delay. Good morning. I'm trying to drive, and of course, I shouldn't be doing this and taking pictures of the flooding. I just went through, oh, I don't know, about 6 or 8 inches of water.
Whoa.
Welcome to the Great Flood of 2025.
You're in Indiana, aren't you?
Yes, I'm in southern Indiana. So I am pretty much due south of Indianapolis, and it's
Right.
about a 2.5 hour drive up there. On my way to Louisville to pick up my kid, and that's about a 45-minute drive. So it's a beautiful place to live, but we have
Mm-hmm.
low spots around me, so it's genuinely dangerous.
Gotcha. I
How,
re-listened to your um, pitch last week, and
oh,
you're
cool. I hope you
fabulous.
liked it.
You are fabulous.
Yeah, I didn't mean to take over the meeting, but I hope that you enjoyed what I had to say. Because
I
I'm actually,
definitely did.
yeah. I do sales training too. So if you've heard of like the offline sharks, I was their subject matter expert. I did all the sales training for their big $25,000 program.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so I teach cold calling and do the thing that most people have asked me to do that I finally did is I started a company to do cold calling for other people. So
Mm-hmm.
I have some callers in other countries that we can hire for, $15 an hour and get great results. So hit me up if you want some of that shameless plug. But what I'm most interested in is making sure that you have the skills that you need to do it yourself, which is why
Sure.
last week I just read you the script that I use. So thank you for that shout out.
Anytime.
Since I came in late, what y'all talking about?
I started off by asking about the email tracker software,
So
and
is anybody using that to the point where you watch it in real time and then 30 seconds after they open it, you actually hit them up with a phone call?
I used to use another tracker, and I did that. Real Strategic's, I forgot what it was called. I used their tracker for a while, and it worked good. I like the idea.
Me too. There's nothing better than hitting them right when it's top of their mind.
But I'm not with Real Strategic anymore, so I'm looking for another one. I found a couple of them online, and I guess I'll sign up for something this afternoon.
I was using a tracker, and you know how you start using things and then you get turned on to something else, so you stop using that. I think it was called
Sure.
YMMD. So actually, YMMD is your mileage may vary, so it's probably not that one, but it was something close to that. My brain's making the association, and it was really cool because probably the same thing as the one you described. It gets that read receipt from Gmail,
Mm-hmm.
and then lets you know. So I don't know. I'm gonna shut up about that. My husband's the techie person, so he'll know what I use. I'll ask him.
You still working for Offline Sharks?
I don't, but my husband does. So he does their
Okay.
oh, what do you call that?
I bought a
Actually,
couple of things from them.
okay. Yeah, I did the big remote millionaires. They started out selling that for 25,000, and then they took it down to 12. And then it is a really great value. If you hear the coffee machine, I'm in the gas station right now. But what ended up
Mm-hmm.
happening is they ended up taking the remote millionaires program over about 3 years. And after I did, oh gosh, probably I don't know, 70.
Your volume went down a little
Okay,
bit.
is it? Let me put the microphone
Yeah.
closer to my mouth.
Yep,
Um,
you're good.
yeah, so they ended up discounting it because it was really too expensive, honestly. But they're now selling those same SOPs. I don't know if you get the recordings that I did, and there's a couple of other subject matter experts that are amazing. But it's a really good value. Last I heard, you could get everything for like $2,000.
Wow.
So if you want it without the coaching, and again, I don't know if that includes, and me and the other subject matter experts, but you can get the SOPs, which I think is the most important part, for about 2 grand. So if you want something like that, let me know and I'll get you the information.
Okay.
But honestly, for the amount of pain in the neck it is to run a digital marketing agency, I think the 9 by 12 cards are more profitable time wise. But
Mm-hmm.
then I use the 9 by 12, going out and talking to people to bring business back to my husband. I
Right.
mean, once you get out there and you start talking to people, especially in the small towns where I'm working in right now, they're just their GBPs are messed up. Like they don't even know what they're doing. So he's rescued a lot of people whose GBPs have been stolen.
What is that thing on your shoulder? On your
That is an
picture?
oyster mushroom. So my big jam and what I do, and in fact, you probably heard on the recording last week. Thanks. You probably heard on the recording that I was talking about Garden of Eden, which is my plant nursery. So
Right.
we're gonna be changing the name because I've got a better name now for branding purposes. But anyway, I grow mushrooms. So that is a big oyster mushroom. Tastes like
Ah,
steak.
gotcha.
So if you're interested, you can go to AmericanMushroomandSpice.com. And that's a guy that's a couple hours. He's local, a couple hours away. He's local to me, Air Force veteran. He sells those bags of mushrooms that are inoculated. So they'll be like sawdust or brown rice. And then he puts the mushroom spores in there. And
Hmm.
it's insane. I have never in my life seen any mushroom bag grow mushrooms as big as that. I grow lion's manes that are as big as a volleyball. So the oyster mushroom you see there basically tastes like steak. I marinate it. I have a marinator thing, that puts holes in it so it'll really absorb. And with some
Hmm.
Montreal seasoning, whew, man, it's just like steak. But my favorite is lion's mane mushroom. And lion's mane tastes like really crab and lobster and scallops all mixed together. It's very seafoody, it's very savory. But the real reason we get the lion's mane is because I extract it into alcohol and water tinctures. And when you make it into a medicine, it helps with, basically helps with your short term memory. It regrows your nerves. There's a study out there that they did with rats. So you can look up NIH rat study paralysis lion's mane, and you'll find out that a strong water extract, they took the rats, they crushed their back leg nerves, they couldn't move. They gave them the lion's mane, and then they regained the use of their legs. So, yeah, it actually has reverse paralysis in rats.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
powerful.
very, very powerful medicine. So I have 10 kids. My husband and I have been married for 33 years, and we've got 10 kids. So I am like all into the natural stuff.
Hmm.
So, so anyway, that's a different conversation for a different day, but
That's
I'm happy
okay.
to talk about that all day long. So when you hear me in the recording and I'm saying, hey, my name is Lucy and I own the Garden of Eden at
Hmm.
that's real.
From where
Okay.
I'm sitting, it looked like a giraffe's head, and I couldn't figure it out.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. That is a little tiny picture, but yeah, it's actually a mushroom. Okay, now I've got a headset in, so that should be better. Back to
Cool.
driving. I'm going to mute. Anybody's welcome to ask me questions. It'll just take me a couple of seconds.
Anybody else have a question or an answer?
You know what? I've got a question for the peanut gallery, even though you may have already, I shouldn't say peanut gallery, that seems bad. I've got a question for the other experts and hardworking folks in the room with us. Um, I'm 53, so I skew, against Instagram. I'm totally, brainwashed by Facebook. Is anybody doing anything with DMs that actually works?
Hmm.
Because everybody's like, oh yeah, just slide into their DMs, or just like you can apparently DM a lot of uh, celebrities or famous people because a lot of them manage their own Instagram. I don't know if
Really?
that's necessarily true, but Gary Vee says it, so maybe who knows? He's obviously in there. So I'm just wondering if that actually works, because what totally works for me is calling people on the phone and getting them interested and then visiting them in person, or literally just taking a day and hopping from business to business. And
Hmm.
that's where I've gotten, 80 to 90%. And then the others were referrals. And that's one thing that I always do is once I get somebody to say yes to something, they probably have friends that are just like them. And so I start asking, hey, who else do you know that this would really be a blessing for? Or who else do you know that this would really work great for their business? And then they'll tell you.
Yeah, referrals are powerful. That's great.
Most people are really scared to ask for referrals. But the
Oh
fact of
gosh,
the
no.
matter is that people are always looking to even the score or to balance the scales. And so you really do people a favor when you do a solid for them and you let them reciprocate. In their mind, it makes them feel like they've reciprocated, even if they don't understand this consciously. Subconsciously, they know that as humans, we're always keeping score. And so
Yeah.
if somebody does something nice for you, then you kind of owe them. And so, unless you're like a psychopath or a narcissist, and then they just want to know how they can get more. But the average sane human wants to do something nice for you in return. So you're actually doing them a favor by asking for referrals.
I forgot about that.
I think
Well,
going back to DMs real fast though, it takes time of like being in their social media, liking their post for a little bit, making little comments here and there for them to because they get a dopamine hit every time somebody makes a comment on a post, because if they post all the time but then nobody says anything or nobody does anything, and then they finally get somebody to say something, there's a resonance there. Even if it's not a plug, even if you're not promoting your own stuff, it's they're starting to recognize your name. Then when you slip into their DMs, you have a backstory a little. Like, oh, this person's actually been following me. I've seen them pop up in my notifications that they've liked or commented on my stuff. That is where that background into their DMs helps tremendously.
those are very wise words. I used to work for Link Selling, and the product that I sold was actually them coming in and doing your LinkedIn for you. So they charged $3,000 a month to to build relationships with people that are your target audience, and then they would do the messaging back and forth until it got to the point where it needed to be handed off or set as an appointment. And so, I mean, $3,000 a month is a lot, but it was very effective. A lot of the companies that Link Selling took on as clients would literally have, products they were selling or contracts they were selling would be multi-million-dollar contracts. So 3,000 a month, made a lot of sense for them to do that. And so what I learned there, I guess maybe I should take from LinkedIn and apply to Instagram. I just don't even really know how to use Instagram. Is we would follow somebody first. So when you follow them, they get the notification that you're following them. And then a couple of days later, then you request the connection. Yeah. So they've already seen your name once. And same thing, go to their profile, find some things that you can genuinely comment on and have good things to say, positive things. Really difficult for me to stay away from politics, but I do. And then make sure that you're building a real relationship with them and that you're interested in what they have to say. Because most of the people on LinkedIn, you've gotten this yourself, they just connect with you to ambush you. And so the connection quest, I know that if I add enough value into somebody else's life, that will boomerang and come right back to me. Because people just want to, if you add value to somebody, they want to add value to you. So I typically reach out to people and say, hey, it looks like we're in the same industry. I'm curious what niches you're focusing on. Perhaps I have some customers I can't serve that you would like to serve. So I've been a mortgage broker since '96. If I'm reaching out to get realtors, I've never been divorced. I've never helped anybody, through like refinance their house or sell their house during a divorce. So if I get somebody that comes to me and say, hey, Lucy, I'm in the middle of a divorce. I've got to refinance my house. I'm going to say, you know what? That's not really my niche. My niche is real estate investors. So let me get you with so-and-so that works with people that are divorced. People that have previously been divorced can really empathize and understand with what they're going through. And I just can't. I'm sure I could learn to empathize and understand it, but I don't understand it like somebody that's been divorced. And they'll really jam better with somebody that has. So find out, what they're doing if you're in your same industry that is referable, so that you can say, hey, I just want to know who's your best customer. Who should I be referring to you?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you something brilliant that a young insurance agent did when I met with him. He, and this is like literally probably 10 years ago. So this has worked for a really long time. Here his office had prepared, they'd gone into my connection list on LinkedIn, and they've sorted out everybody that looked like it would be a good referral for him as a sales agent for insurance. And so when he and I met for coffee, we established, some rapport, made sure that we liked each other. It's the sort of people you'll want to do business with. And then the ask was, hey, Lucy, really love to get to know more people like you. And then he pulled out, out of his folder, He pulled out a list of my friends on LinkedIn, and they were like, not just names, they had the little picture and everything. Cause sometimes you know people, but you don't know them until you look at them. And so there was about 20 people a page. And he said, are there 3 or 4 people on here that you would feel comfortable calling them up and saying, hey, I just met John. He's a young, ambitious real insurance agent. Would you mind giving him a shot? Like he literally put that ask on me. And because there were 3 or 4 pages there, I was easily able to choose 3 people that I knew well enough and might actually have a need for his services. So he wasn't asking me to do a whole bunch. And then he said, do you mind just going ahead and texting him and letting him know that I'm going to call him? So while we're at coffee, I texted 3 people and say, hey, I just, had coffee with John. He's, good guy, brand new. So, he's needing a little bit of help. Would you at least give him a shot and let him get some practice, meeting with him? And I did promise, that they would get a quote or pressure him to do business, but just, hey, would you give him a shot? Would you at least talk to him and let him practice on you? So for him, he just got into my network. And then how many people is that going to spawn off for him? I don't know.